Facebook and YouTube, and hopefully everybody on Facebook and YouTube can hear me. I can just look there to see if there's any comments to people saying we can't hear you. But we're going to look at structure and flow. So it's exactly we could have lined that question up from Maureen. It's exactly what we're talking about there, is that we need to create a strong structure, or a good structure, to allow the breath to flow through the body, but also the movement to flow through the body as well. If we don't have a strong structure, then you're not going to get that ease of flow. Or if we have too much flow and no structure, that's actually going to overstress the body. So it's that combination, it's that balance, that fine tuning of getting the balance right, and then having our body in the right place or using gravity to our best advantage as well. So let us start off in our standing. So find your little space. Quick swig of coffee. Keep me going. And we'll start off with, let me just see, somebody's posted on Facebook. I want to make sure that you can hear me on Facebook. Morning, hopefully everybody can hear me okay on Facebook. Good morning, Facebook. Let's start off with our shaking. So when you're doing this shaking, just start off slowly. So just really nice and easy. Use the legs to pump, to start sort of like the absorption. Just feel the ground and feel the absorption through the feet. The softness in the feet, the softness in the knees, in the hips. And see if you can feel that absorption, which I think is quite a good word to think of, coming up through the body. So say for example you tighten your arms like this, and then notice where that stops, where it sort of like blocks the flow of energy through the body. So where do you feel it? You might feel it in your shoulders, or you might feel it in your back. So really tighten your shoulders and block the energy. Block, 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 and then let it go. And then feel just the movement and the energy and the flow through the body. Now explore, if I lean back a bit, that feels a bit weird. So actually, yeah, you're getting vibration, but it doesn't feel as if it's all linked up. So leaning back, you move your centre of gravity behind you. That might put a little bit of stress, overstressing the hips maybe, or overstressing the lower legs. And then come back up, and then feel that vibration. Again, nice, easy vibration. Now you may be able to feel this in the jaw. So if the jaw is relaxed, and the neck might just move a little bit. Now let's try tensing the jaw. So without hurting yourself or without breaking any teeth, tense the jaw, push the chin forward, and feel, yeah. You might, where does that block? It might start again blocking in the lower back, it might block in the shoulders. So we're really misaligning our upper body. Drop the shoulders and do that, and then suddenly there's too much going on up here. So everything's forwards, and then lift up. And imagine you're lifting through the crown. And again, there you feel those good vibrations. And once we've created this strong structure, so the structure doesn't mean to say it has to be rigid, but it's strong. You've got everything in a good place. Then you can start just tapping the heels into the ground. So again, this should feel quite good. Creating that vibration through that structure, sending that energy through that really strong structure, flowing energy, vibration through that structure. And again, even with the structure in a good place, you might feel a little bit of blockages, maybe in the ankles, maybe in the calf muscles. So just have a quick body scan and see where you may feel those blockages. All of this, you're just breathing easy in and out through the nose. And focus on any area where you feel any kinks or blockages, and see if you can just release those areas. So typically in the shoulders, maybe in the calves, maybe in the lower legs. And then we can do just a couple of deep breaths, fuller, deeper breaths, just to release any tension. So we'll take a fuller breath in through the nose and just release any tension. And again, fuller breath in through the nose. And it's a very positive release of tightness or tension. Have a wry smile on your face as you breathe a fuller breath in through the nose. And one big release. And slow it down. And then just give the legs a little bit of a shake. Step your feet about hip width apart. And just take a moment. You should almost feel that nice tingling sensation running through the body. So again, as we were talking about last week, the foundations, so this is the structure of your foundation in this standing posture. Center of gravity balanced over the center, over the heels, so you've got your center of gravity balanced over your heels, and you're connected to the ground through the feet, lift and lengthen through the crown of the head. Step your feet out now, so a little bit wider, so we go to about shoulder width. A little bit of bend in the knees. So again, if we're thinking from a structural point of view, if I bend the knees subtly, there'll be a slight, like 1 degree tilt forwards. I've still got this long spine, but I'm not here, because otherwise I'm then leaning back. So really explore, just by bending the knees, using gravity rather than your internal energy or your internal muscle power to balance yourself. Explore, if you lean back, where you have to really use your legs maybe and your glutes to actually balance yourself, whereas find that sweet spot where you can let gravity do a lot of work in terms of balancing yourself, and then you just need to keep lifting tall through the spine. So that's the starting point. That's the structure that we're going to work with, and we're going to add some flow through that structure, and that's our rotation. So we're using the hips, so I'll mirror you. So my right hip goes back, left hip comes forward. Just small movements, and then opposite side. So it's a bit like imagining you're dangling on a string and your hips are just rotating. And then you can bring a little bit more movement into it, but the movement is coming from the hips, and the shoulders, arms are relaxed, head relaxed, and you're just looking without forcing anything in the direction that you're rotating. So if we've got really strong structural alignment, this flow, this ease of movement can feel almost effortless. What's the least amount of work we need to do? We just need to drive from our hips from our feet to actually get the spine rotating. Keep lifting from the crown. Now, if we lose that structure, so just try it, just lose the structure, just drop forwards, then you really are having to use different muscles to drive you or to rotate you. The spine is locked, particularly here if I'm doing this, the spine is locked. So you're not actually rotating, you're just moving your upper body around. This is one of the things with running, is you think don't over rotate the upper body, but actually when you see people running like this, they're actually not rotating the spine. They're actually just moving that upper body as a block. Whereas when you think they're running forwards and there's no rotation, they're actually rotating, because that rotation around that central axis allows that flow of energy. Again, without hurting yourselves, just lean back a bit so you lose that structure. And yeah, it doesn't work. It just doesn't feel right. You can't get that nice flow, easy fluid movement. Then come back, nice and tall. Get that right structure. And then it's just effortless movement. You want to feel as if you're doing the least amount of work. We tend to think of fitness and exercise as all being effort, and we have to do stuff. We want to do the least amount of work to get the most amount of effort out of it, or the best results out of it. So effortless movement is literally very powerful. Again, watch the elite runners, watch the elite athletes. There's no effort. There's real determination and strength and power, but it doesn't look it's effortless. So just explore that difference. So the strength and the power comes from the hips. Keep lifting tall. And then slow it down. And then just come back to balance for a second. Just let yourself balance. Connect to the ground. Lift to the sky. So there's your structure. So we don't want to be over structural and tightening and tightening and tightening. Where can you let go of when you're aligned with gravity, when you're utilizing gravity? This is a great structure as well in terms of breath. So we allow the easy flow of breath in and out through the nose. If our head's pushing forwards, you're blocking, you're restricting how you maybe can breathe through the nose. So you might actually start to breathe through the mouth. If the head's balanced on top of the spine, you can allow that flow of breath into the body. Step back out again. I'll show you from the side. So we'll do our spinal breathing with the spine, if you like. We'll bend the knees a little bit. Again, remember when you bend the knees, I don't want to be leaning back. I don't want to be pushing my hips forwards. I want that very subtle tilt, literally 1 degree forwards in my upper body. Bring your arms up. Now we keep the knees bent. We open up the chest. Pull the arms back. Then we tuck the pelvis. And open up. So here we're extending and flexing the spine. So from a structural point of view, we're really just energizing the spine. We're getting some mobility, flexibility and strength through the spine. We're opening up the front of the spine there. Tucking and rounding the spine there. Keeping the knees bent, open up. And then tuck. We bring the breath with it. We breathe in through the nose. Just easy. Remember the difference between a big and a deep breath. So we're breathing deep, but not necessarily big. We don't need a massive big volume of air. Just breathe the volume of air that your body wants naturally. Torque the pelvis. Really accentuate the difference between extending the spine and flexing the spine. Extending, flexing. For those on Zoom, when we were talking this morning about that back line of the fascia, if you think about it, when you're extending, that whole back line you're extending. And when you're flexing, that whole back line you're working as well. So think of that fascia running all the way from underneath from the eyebrows, from the brow, connect the brow to the plantar fascia in the feet. There is a connection all the way down the body of that fascia running through the bones, running through the ligaments, running through the tendons, running through the muscles, running through the organs. So you're massaging all of the body, not just the muscles, but the fascia and the organs as well. Let's do 2 more like this. Open up. Breathe in. Good, and then rest there. Just give yourself a little shake. Shake the legs a little bit if you need to. And then just take a moment to balance. So we can go hip width on this. Connect to the ground, lift to the sky. So if we've really mobilized the spine there, so we've extended it and we've flexed it, so that actually helps us to lift and lengthen. Helps us to relax and release the shoulders. Step out. My favorite one. We go side to side. So we start off with hips. Just moving hips side to side. So I'm mirroring you if I go to the left and to the right. Just nice and easy. It's almost like skating. If you think I'm ice skating. Now, let the upper body just relax and flow with it. It's our 70s dance routine. So we're working on lateral flexion or side to side flexion of the spine. We're also strengthening the legs as you're pushing into the ground. So once you get into the flow of this, let the hip lead. Let's just slow it down. Let's just break it down a little bit, because some of you on Zoom are going the same way. So we're not quite getting the flow. So what happens is if my hip's going to the left, my upper body sort of like sways with the other direction. So hip goes, upper body follows. Hip goes, upper body follows. So it's very much like, imagine some seaweed in the water. And we're not rotating, or we're rotating a little bit, but we're more side to side. I've got it wrong there. It's all right when you think, if you overthink it, you can't do it. Just do that, just shake your body. And then let the head go. Just let the head go. Nice and easy. And then slow it down. Come back to standing. Let's break the squat down a little bit now, because we're using the squat a lot in our movement. There's so many different ways you can squat. One of the things is, if you say to someone do a squat, you end up doing an exercise. If you think about quite logically what we use a squat for. We use a squat for sitting down. I'm going to sit down. We use a squat for going to the loo. We use a squat for getting down onto the ground. Let's break this down in the simplest way. If we start with our feet, again, about shoulder width apart, some of the key things to watch for is that when whatever squat we're doing, even if we're doing a close squat or a big sumo squat, is you want your knees floating over the toes there. So again, I've done the right thing in wearing black leggings here because you can't really see them, but what we want to do is avoid that too much or avoid that too much. Having said that, when you get proficient at squatting, it's always good to do these type of movements with a squat. So that's not a bad thing to do, it's just that we don't want that to be your default squat. So we want the knees gliding over the toes. Now in Qigong, they don't actually say we're doing a squat, they say, right, we'll do the tiger. And actually that's a really good way of visualizing what a squat is all about. Because if you imagine you've got like tiger claws, all you're doing is going down like a tiger and then coming up like a tiger. So rather than thinking I'm doing an exercise and I've got to squat, just imagine you're going down and then up. So actually put a little bit of tension through the hands and through the claws, if you like. And then soften the hands. And tiger. And up. And just go to a depth comfortable for you at this moment. That's good. It's looking good on Zoom. Nice and easy. Should be easy breathing in and out through the nose. Or you could make a tiger sound. You could roar. Puts a little bit of, I know it's all fun and games, but it puts a little bit of intention rather than, oh, I'm sat here doing this, well, not sat here, I'm doing this boring squat exercise. So if you want to put some sound to it, nobody can hear you. Or maybe people can hear you. And let's do 2 more. And then take a rest there. Shake the legs out a little bit. One thing to watch on the squat, I'm seeing it a little bit again on Zoom, is when you get to the point where your hips are in a good place, what I'm seeing a few of you doing is then bending forwards. So what I want you to do with this is just go to the point where you can keep tall, and it's almost like I'm taking my hips to my heels rather than I'm taking my hips down and then I'm bending down like this. So the minute your hips get to the point where you don't feel comfortable lowering them anymore, that's when you come up. So that's your depth. If we get to there and then start to lean forwards, you've gone a little bit too far. So just for that point, just go to the point where I'm dropping my hips to my ankles. Now I can't do any more, I'll come back up. So I'm dropping my hips to my ankles, and then I'm lifting up. So let's have a little go with that. So when you're ready, let's go. That's good. Yeah, so it's not about how far can I get down, it's the quality again, it's the quality of the movement. Again, it's guided by the breath, so if you get to the point where you're going, oh, I can't get any further than this, and the breath starts to get a little bit chaotic, or you start to hold the breath, then we've gone a little bit too far. If in the movement, in the flow that we're doing, you start to get out of breath, then it's not about counting reps, it's about stopping when you're in a comfortable place with the breath. It doesn't mean to say it isn't challenging, but it means we're not pushing our body beyond really the capabilities for what we're doing at this particular moment in time. This is where you'll get the benefits of doing exercise without all the hassle of overtraining or pulling a muscle. And that really is about you tuning into your body, you listening to your body, not just counting reps, or not just doing something that somebody has told you to do, or that something, or you're actually copying a movement that somebody does. Let's do a couple more. And then slow it down. And just give the legs a little bit of a shake. That looked good. So there's a really subtle difference in going to here and then going to there, or just going to here and then using your legs. So again, if we go to there, we put ourselves out of alignment with gravity. We have to do more work to get our center of gravity back up. If we're here, we can just push through the heels and come back up. When we get deeper, then we still want to be in that position. Yes, it's natural that you back around a little bit when we go into a really deep squat here. So that's fine, we're not here. There's a difference when we do that practice where we then roll forwards into that position. And then we sit back and bring our heels up. So let's just try that a couple of times. So we go deep as we can. Now, if you're only comfortable getting to this space, stay there. If you're comfortable in going down, come down. And then hands on the floor. Do our little rock forwards, just put a little bit of weight through the upper body there. Push back into that position. Then really use your heels and your legs to lift yourself back up. So let's just do a couple more squats. So we're either going to go there, as you have been doing, or if you want to, if you feel you're comfortable going a little bit deeper, you can go deeper, rock forwards, rock back, come back up to stand. Are we ready? Claws, tiger. Let's go. Down. Deep as you can. If you can get your hands on your floor, then rock forwards. Now you can put a little bit of weight through that upper body, through the wrists. Rock back. Sit into that deep squat again. Get your structure right with gravity. Push back up. Good. If there's any pain in the hips, if it's any pain, you stop. You just go to that easy. You can go, this can be the tiger. That can be the tiger. Just that. Just get that as the starting point. Let's do one more. So just comfortably, slowly down. Comfortably, hands on the floor, rock forwards, absorb the force, roll back, sit into that nice deep squat. Imagine you're holding a ball and you're lifting a ball up. And then you can just let the arms relax by the side. Excellent, shake the legs out. That looked good, looked really good on Zoom. Let's bring our feet together now. Check in again, center of gravity, lifting through the crown. You can just pop your hands on your belly, so you can just really center yourself. And just close your eyes for a few seconds and feel the body just almost like unwinding itself, bringing itself back to balance. So really strong, powerful stuff you've done today without getting out of breath, being in control of your breath, being in control of your movement, being feeling very strong and powerful, but also with a sense of ease and flow as well. And like with anything in life, it's balancing the two: strength and power and ease and flow. And then open your eyes. Give your hands a little bit of a shake, step the feet out, give the feet a little bit of a shake. And we'll finish there. Well done, that looked really good, watching Zoomers, so well done Zoomers. Just a couple of quickies before we finish. Lunch and Learn tomorrow. So Barbara Pigeon is doing the Lunch and Learn tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Barbara, who we had to change from last week. So I'll send you a link again to that, if you can make that. I've also got a couple of really good ones coming up. I've got Sheila, who is a voice coach, is going to do one in March, and also my two good friends from America who I did work with in Assisi in Italy are doing one on the 26th of February on sleep. And this is fascinating because it's not just about sleep hygiene. It's really, really interesting. I was talking to them last night. So definitely those two, well, all three of them are all going to be really, really interesting podcasts and webinars. So jump in for those. Doing my Run with Ease workshop and my Optimize Your Breathing workshops this weekend. So there's a lot going on if anybody wants to get involved. If not, I will see you hopefully next Tuesday for the breath work and next Thursday for the movement again. The Zoomers will do that little bit of discussion again at the beginning, because I think that's really useful, because it's nice, because it almost ties in with what we're working on. So we'll do that 7:45 again for those of you on Zoom next Thursday. Have a great day. Hopefully see some of you tomorrow, and if not, I'll see you next week. Have a good day, good weekend. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Cheers, Tom. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.